It is 3 p.m. Central on Thursday, March 26th, which means it is time for our very first Tap Talk. Welcome to TAPtalks, where we bring you awesome arts professionals to talk about their paths to creative careers, specifically for a teen audience. For anyone joining us who is not yet familiar with TAP, it stands for Teen Arts Pass. We're a program of the arts education organization Urban Gateways, and through TAP, anyone 13 to 19 can get $5 tickets to performances with our 27 partners all around the Chicago area. Of course, right now, there aren't any performances happening because of COVID-19 and the stay-at-home orders in place. So the team at TAP wanted to figure out how to keep the creativity flowing and engage our teens somehow. So we're introducing TAPtalks, starting today and continuing every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 p.m. Central on Instagram Live. Hashtag Quarantine Arts Pass. So again, TAPtalks, this is a chance for us to have a dialogue with creative arts professionals about their paths to their creative careers and specifically geared towards that teen audience. So today I am so excited to introduce our inaugural Tap Talk guest, Madison Embrey. Madison grew up dancing at the Dance Shoppe in Michigan under the guidance of Terri, Newman, and Lenter. She graduated from Pace University and the Pforzheimer Honors College in New York City with her BFA in commercial dance. Favorite performance experiences include arena stunt show Marvel Universe Live, dancing on Modern Love, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, Good Morning America, The Today Show, Disney Channel XD, and motion capture for Mortal Kombat 11. Madison has most recently been seen touring the country with the arena stunt show Jurassic World Live Tour, playing the show's heroine, Dr. Kate Walker. When Madison isn't performing, she loves traveling the country and sharing her passion for dance as a teacher and judge. So today we have some questions lined up thanks to the TAP Teen Council and some collaborators who shared in advance on Instagram. But if you have any questions as we are going here, please feel free to enter them down below and we will get to as many as we can. And now I would like to welcome in Madison here. Looks like we're connecting.
Ooh.
Hi, Madison.
Hi there.
Welcome.
Situated. Okay, I think we're good.
You're all good. Welcome, Madison, our first talk guest. I need to get shorter here. Okay. So again, just for those of you joining us, Madison, you are a stunt performer and professional dancer. So can you tell us a little bit about your current job?
Sure. So currently I am playing Dr. Kate Walker in the arena show Jurassic World Live Tour. And it's a show, it's in arenas, so it's very big, takes up a lot of space, and it's a storyline that falls between Jurassic World and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. So if you're familiar with Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, and you love those films, it feels very familiar, but we're introducing a brand new storyline and new characters. So in our story, Dr. Kate Walker leads the way with a team of scientists, and she has a really close relationship with a brand new dinosaur we're introducing to the franchise named Genie. So it's really great. Dr. Kate is a doctor, a scientist. She's an awesome team player. She knows how to fight. She's very empathetic. So it's a character that I'm very, very proud to bring to life in cities all around the country.
Very cool. How did the dinosaurs work? I'm totally off script already.
No, it's fine. No, they're incredible. So during shows, I go from being on stage with a 42-foot Tyrannosaurus Rex all the way to velociraptors, flying pteranodons, and they're all different. So the T-Rex is animatronic, and she has two people controlling her. Two Dinoteers, there are dinosaur puppeteers. One is driving her bass from like up in the stands of the arena, and then the other is moving her facial features, her tail, her blinking. And then the velociraptors are Troodon, her name's Genie, she's like our star of the show. Those are puppets that are minimum 130 pounds. So it's like full-blown athletes inside those dinosaurs, because arenas are huge and they're sprinting. Like, you know, velociraptors are known for being fast and smart. And so it's athletes that are bringing these 130-pound creatures to life.
That's so cool. So what's your daily schedule like when you're actually on tour and not stuck at home?
Okay, so when I'm on tour, I'll take you through a Saturday. So Saturdays we do 3 shows, and the show is an hour and a half, and my character is pretty much in the full hour and a half of the show. So I have to be, as much as you're at the arena for 13 hours, but I truly feel like Saturdays are like a 16-hour day, because when I wake up till the moment I go to sleep, it's all very focused around showing up the best I can be for work. So Saturdays, I wake up about 2 hours before call time. My character uses my own hair, and it has to go up and down throughout the day. So I've learned that I have to have clean hair when I start a Saturday. So I wake up, I shower, I get my hair situated. I like to do my full makeup at home, so that when I get to the arena, I can be focused on warming up and getting ready for the show. So I've learned about myself that I really, really value my mornings, and I love having a moment to myself in the morning. I'm not a huge fan of like waking up and having to bust right into getting ready for the day. So it's worth it to me to have that little extra time. I probably could get ready in 45 minutes to an hour, but I really like having that me time in the beginning of the day. And then I get to the arena. An hour and 40 minutes before show, we have bag spot. So in the show, my character does a fight on an 18-foot cliff. And every single day, my fight partner and I go on top of the cliff. He falls off the cliff. His stunt is to fall off the cliff doing a high fall. So every single show day, he practices the high fall. My character hangs by a hand loop off the cliff. So my job is to make sure that my hand loop is safe. He and I will go through any fights, any understudies we might have in the show. They'll practice the fight as well. So that happens an hour and 40 minutes before show. Then at an hour and 15 before show, we have a big team meeting with our entire cast. We'll go through notes from the day before. We warm up. And then at 40 minutes before show, it's our presets. So we get into costume. My character has a lot of quick changes in the first act, so I have to go get everything ready. I have to get my lighting packs ready. And then by 15 minutes to show, I get in costume. I do the full hour and a half show. We have a 20-minute intermission, which is my one time, like grab water, do what I need to do. And then we have about 2 hours between shows. And if I don't have friends to go say hi to between shows, I'll normally go visit our show's athletic trainer. And she's incredible. She's so good at helping us recover, whether it's ice baths, heating, stretches, physical therapy, anything we need. Sometimes I'll take a power nap. Sometimes I'll read a book. I'll call family. And then we do the show 3 times. So it's definitely a marathon. So it's whatever you need to do to show up physically present and mentally present to keep your fight partners safe for every show.
Wow. So those that have joined us since we started, I just wanted to we are talking with Madison Embrey, a stunt performer and professional dancer. And this is TAPtalks. So it's Teen Arts Pass out of Chicago, having a little conversation with arts professionals, specifically geared towards teens. So the question that I think a lot of people are probably dying to know is, how did you find yourself in this line of work?
Okay. I love that. I'm actually going to take it back to my junior year of high school. I was enrolled in AP US History, and we didn't have a lot of AP courses offered at my high school, and I was so busy with dance, I didn't really have the chance to take any of how there's so many like college courses you can take in advance now. That just wasn't really an option. So I knew if I wanted to get college credit early, I was going to have to like nail this test. So I studied so hard for it. I met with my history teacher like for all these extra study sessions, and it was amazing. It ended up paying off. I received college credit for that test, and then come my senior year of college, I had open credits for electives. From that test, I took my junior year of high school, and I decided to take stage combat. So it was just like an elective offered And I fell in love instantly. I felt like all my years of dance training was just like ready and raring to go for this new movement style. And I transitioned my dancing into, I would say, stage combat. It was my first taste of it. And I would say, having danced for like 20 years, I have a really deep respect for like how long it takes me to say I'm proficient at something. It's hard for me to like only study something for a couple years and feel like I truly understand the art of it, just because I'm going on like year 22 of dance and I'm still learning all the time. So I'm on my 5th year of fight training and I still feel like I'm such a newbie, and I still feel like I'm, trying to learn from everyone I can, which is really amazing and really, really helpful, and has made me very susceptible and a sponge to everything that's being taught. And I just a month after I started taking stage combat in college, the auditions for Marvel Universe Live were posted. And it was the first time they had ever created this show. So they didn't know what they were looking for yet, which is kind of a really cool lesson on not counting yourself out of opportunities and not labeling yourself. At that time, I didn't know I had the potential to be a stunt performer, but the call for the audition was like dancers, aerialists, fighters. I mean, basically, if you walked and like had coordination, they were like, come, try it out. Let's see if you're ready for it. And so I showed up to the audition, and it was fighting and acting, and I happened to be the right height and look for one of the characters. A big thing when you have Marvel Comics and their creative team on board, it really is cast upon looks and then skill set. They just have a brand and a franchise that has been happening for decades that they need to stick to. And so I just so happened to fit the stats for one of the characters. And from there, I had really, really incredible teachers that never tried to take my dance away from me. Just were like, okay, she's got flexibility. She can pick up choreography quickly. We need to start tweaking these things, but like, she can definitely do this. And I've always loved learning, and I've always been really curious. And so to me, it just felt like this new challenge to tackle. And I was really fortunate that I had some excellent teachers and mentors that were happy to take me on board.
That's awesome. So when you were younger, what did you think you wanted to be when you grew up?
Okay, this is really exciting to me, the thought of it. So I have to like put myself in the frame of mind of like 10 or 11 or 12-year-old Madison. I knew that when I was on stage, that was when I felt like I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. If you somehow are like lucky enough to tap into that feeling at that age, like I don't have the words for it, but it like being on stage was happy to me. Whenever we would have our dance recitals, I like enjoyed doing my homework from school that day on the stage prior to rehearsal starting, because I just loved being on stage. And I say this very gently about 14, 15-year-old Madison, but in my closed perspective of what I knew was possible, to me that meant, well, in order to be on stage, I have to be a professional dancer. That was what I knew, and that was kind of all I knew. So that path made sense to me, and that was what led me ultimately to my decision to move to New York. I found a school where I've always really loved school as well. In realms of choosing between school and a professional career, I somehow fell in a time where I found a program that hadn't quite started yet. So I got to be on the helping end of creating this dance program, but that also meant I could take all these academic classes at the school as well, because we didn't have a fully structured dance program yet. And so that was really great for me. And I started just leaning into the idea of, performing. That's what it does for me. So it was hard for me as I ventured into stunts, because for so long I had labeled myself as like, well, I'm a dancer, and what are these people going to think of me that I'm like doing a Marvel superhero show? And I started letting these unkind thoughts creep in, when in reality now I love my job so much and I love performing so much that I just wish 10-year-old Madison had been able to be in the audience and see Dr. Kate Walker, because she would have, for 10-year-old me to be like, wait, that's a performance opportunity? Like, that's a possibility, and all my dance training could lead to that. I think my idea of what had been possible would have probably been broader. So yeah, I just knew I wanted to be, I would say professional dancer, but I think that needed to broaden into professional performer.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, and that's part of what this is again, hey, I'm going to do another little plug here for those that have joined us.
Please do.
So that's part of the goal here, is to kind of expand the horizons of what professional arts careers there are out there, because a lot of times you just see the things that are in front of you, right? So professional dancer was really obvious to you. Everybody knows there are actors in the world, right? But how many people know about stunt performers and things like that, and that's actually a career path that people can follow? And it's just to help broaden these horizons and to share these things the way that you wish you could share for 10-year-old Madison. So, and again, for those of you just joining us, we're here with Madison Embrey, who is a stunt performer and professional dancer. So she's able to have it all, essentially. Talking a little bit about young Madison, can you describe who you were as a teenager?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I cared so deeply about everything I did. I was very, very sensitive and very filled with emotion in a really wonderful way. And I loved the rules and I loved structure. I really loved school. I cared very deeply about my friendships, and I was like really, really, really dedicated to dance. I feel very fortunate that I also fell in with some really excellent mentors and parents that trusted my mentors. My mom and dad were like so willing to help and assist in any way they could. But they also knew that like Miss Terri and my dance teachers that essentially were sometimes spending more hours with me than they were also to be trusted, and also were allowed to be people that shaped me into who I was. And I just really cared really deeply, and I'm thankful I did, because that helped me develop my skill set of dance. And I don't know. If you're allowed to say you were a good kid, like I just was like a good kid, and I made mistakes, and I didn't always nail it in realms of like dealing with friendships, but I always right away would feel very badly and would want to right those wrongs and would want to have the uncomfortable conversations to make sure my friendships came out on the other side. And I'm curious to see how this is like a trait that develops down the road, but I always kind of had some foresight of knowing like, hey, if I do this action now, it's probably going to lead to this domino effect. So like, do you want to do that? Probably not. Or like, oh, if I do this now, it's really going to help me 5 years from now. That'd be great. So that was kind of something that was really helpful, is I always kind of had a really good little like moral compass in me that could sense whether or not it was probably in my best interest to do something. And yeah, oh shoot, she cared a lot. I want to hug her. She cared very deeply about everything she did.
Aw, little Madison.
Yeah.
So one of the questions that our teen council had was, to what would you attribute the success you've had in your career?
Ooh, that's gonna make me emotional. My parents, like first and foremost, my mom and dad. And then beyond that, my mentors, Miss Terri, Miss Lauren, my college professors. Of course I could like say my hard work and being nice to people. It's like, you know, I give myself credit in my alone time, but when it comes to being asked that question and hey, what would you attribute it to? I just wouldn't be anything without teachers that were happy to share their knowledge and saw potential that I had no idea about in more than just being a dancer, just as a person. And I think people that were invested in making me the best person I could be, more than just, the best dancer, the best performer, the best label, they were really invested in making me the best person possible. And in turn, that allowed me to develop a lot of different skill sets along the way. So truly, all my credit has to go to my mentors and also the people that just have opened doors for me in jobs or sitting down and talking to me and being like, you know what, let's try that. I mean, Tara, simply you've got this new idea, this new platform, and just saying, hey, Madison, you want to try that? This is something that's so fulfilling to me, but it wouldn't be possible without someone opening that door for me. And I truly, in everything I do and will continue to do, it all will just come down. I just feel like I always have thank you notes in my bag. In my suitcase while I'm on tour, I always travel thank you notes, but I also just kind of feel like I'm just like a walking thank you note of constantly just being very grateful to people that have given me opportunities or been like such a fundamental part of making me who I am.
As somebody who does know you, I can say that you are kind of gratitude personified, and not that we like hang out all the time anymore.
Yeah.
But I would say one of the things when the teen council brought that question up, I said, the answer I hear more often than not to that question is, the relationships and being kind to people and them wanting to work with you. And so I am not trying to say that is your answer is beautiful and lovely, but I think that you are not giving yourself enough credit.
Oh.
And that the fact that you walk around exuding gratitude is clearly instrumental as to why people would want to work with you. So you can turn it around on other people, but you have to own some of your success for yourself.
Thanks. Well, and I will say, because so at the end of the day, I want to share. And so it would be silly for me to not have teens listening and being like, well, I didn't do anything. One of the best pieces of advice my dance teacher ever gave me, and I'm not going to nail it in realms of, I got to get this quote down to a science so I can say it properly. But a big lesson she taught me was there's a fine line between confidence and conceit. And you just always want to make sure you fall on the right side of that line. And Miss Terri always really, it's so important to be confident, and it's very important to be able to speak about yourself eloquently, but in a way that you can be of service. So, hey, I've accomplished X, Y, and Z, which would be of service to you because now I have this knowledge and this experience and I would love to share it with you. And it's such a fine line, and it's such an art and a way of speaking, and it doesn't always feel great, but it's something you can practice, and eventually, when you know your purpose and when you know why it is you want to share about yourself, it helps make it a little bit easier.
Thank you for that.
Yes.
Really quickly to break it up, I have a series of just a couple of either or questions.
Ooh, okay.
It's just a few of them. So, Madison, do you prefer Netflix or Hulu?
Hulu.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Tortilla chips or potato chips?
Tortilla.
The ability to fly or the ability to read minds?
Read minds. Ooh, that'd be good. That'd be good.
Morning person or night person?
Morning.
I think that's about right. Apple or Android? Because
Apple. But Android has such a beautiful camera. So both. They're both wonderful.
Marvel or DC? Just kidding. I'm kidding. For those of you just joining us, Madison has history with Marvel, so I am just teasing. So Claire V04 asked, how does auditioning and getting contracts work?
Great question. Hello, Claire. Okay. Every audition for the thousands of shows happening all the time around the country are very, very different. Sometimes in the world now, they'll have you do like a virtual submission. So you'll do a self-film and then you'll send that into the company, and then they might decide that they would like to bring you in person. A lot of times you'll show up and you'll sign your name on a list at 4 in the morning, and then you'll come back at 9 a.m. and they'll either say, yes, we're seeing everyone today, or no, we're not. Sometimes you feel like you're in a room with 300 other potential wonderful, talented women that would like the same role as you. And then other times you show up and there's only 4 of you. I would say the only thing that is the same is that you can rely on it probably being different in every single situation. I will say every audition brings the same nerves. It brings the same ritual of how I deal with those nerves. I prepare for every single one with the same effort. It's really, really important to do your research and to know who it is you're trying to show that you would like to be part of their company. So today, when I knew that I was coming to be part of this talk, it was really important for me to understand everything that Teen Arts Pass is about. It would be, I'm going to say the word disrespectful. It would be disrespectful of me to show up and just be like, I'm here, what do you need from me? And to me, like, that would be, we tend to go into auditions being like, okay, I'm here, I have my song, I have this, what do you need from me? When really, what's kind of a different way to think about it is they have a product that they're trying to bring to life, and you probably should be asking, hey, is there any way what I have could be of service to you to help you bring your product to life? That will determine the song you sing, the way you dance, the way that kind of every move you make needs to be in line with what the values of the company and the show you are auditioning for are. So that's kind of something that you can take, every single structure of auditions is going to be different, but something you can rely on is that it's going to be really helpful for you to do your research. Therefore, you can kind of mold yourself and show up the best you need to potentially represent the company that would hire you. And then for contracts, it varies. Sometimes if you have an agent, they'll read through the contract for you and see if anything seems off. Most of the time, I've just been reading my own contracts, and you go through them and you have people you can talk to. I have often reached out to people who have had more experience in the field, have been working 20 years longer than I have. Hey, does it sound weird that they're trying to make this happen? And, oh no, that's a thing that always happens, you're good. Or, yeah, that's not good. I have people that I'm comfortable reaching out to that I trust their opinion, and they usually will talk to me being grateful and being like, oh, yeah, that's just a thing that happens. Or like, oh, no, that's not good. So you have a team of people you trust and you can talk with them, and they always kind of help with the contracts. And then every year you usually it kind of goes back and forth. Same thing with contracts. It's different for every show as well.
Thank you. The account for Friends of Willa Cather Elementary has asked what challenges you've had to overcome in the past 2 years.
Oh, that's a really great question. Last February, I had been off the road for about 2.5 years, and I had been living back in New York City and auditioning and taking class. And the really special thing about New York is you get really good at being uncomfortable. New York is just a city that is constantly challenging you. And the cool thing about challenges is they're uncomfortable. But once you get over the hump of being uncomfortable, you usually feel really epic about yourself and you've accomplished something awesome. And New York is basically just a city of like, what challenge would you like to conquer today? So I would say strictly living and auditioning and taking class in New York, that was a huge accomplishment and challenge. And then last February, I was called by Marvel Universe Live had made a second show. I was not part of that show. I had moved back to New York, but they were losing a fee.
Yep, you're back.
Okay. They had asked if if it was possible for me to join the show for about 3 or 4 months. And I was coming in. I figured I'd be stepping into like an ensemble track. It'd be great. I'd learn my track. And the casting team decided, hey, we'd also like you to understudy the, essentially it was like the lead female role of Gamora. So if you're familiar with Guardians of the Galaxy, she's the beautiful green lady. And she's an incredible fighter. She has sword work. This character happened to make her entrance from 40 feet in the air, sliding down a rope at like the speed of lightning. It took all the upper body strength. This character also rappelled in from 40 feet above the grid. So I had to learn rappelling. I had to learn how to do a high fall from 11 feet in the air. And for someone who has a bit of a fear of heights, it was one of the greatest challenges I had ever been served. And even more, to add another mental layer on top of that, my first day back at Marvel Universe Live, it was the same company as Jurassic World Live Tour, and they had called me saying, we would like to offer you the role of Kate. However, like, you're going to do Marvel for a while, and then come this summer, you're going to jump over to Jurassic. So I had been asked to conquer a role that I knew kind of had an expiration date on it, but that sort of kicked my perseverance into high gear. And it was kind of the first time that like I had worked really, really hard at something. And when I went in for my first tech rehearsal and my first dress rehearsal, it wasn't perfect and I didn't nail it. And I had kind of always had it where if I worked hard enough and I tried hard enough, it usually ended up being great and it would all work out. And that was the first time where I had worked so hard at something and I did my dress rehearsal and it was still not quite ready to be put on the stage in front of an audience because I still had some strength to gain in the realms of the stunts. So I was like, all right, let's do it. I was gung-ho and I started doing all the extra training I needed to. She has like a pair of 6-pound Harley Davidson boots. So I started walking around with ankle weights all the time. And I just was like bound and determined to get it. And sure enough, a month later, we were in Mexico City. So we were doing the show in Spanish. So the show is tracked, but I learned all my understudy Gamora lines in Spanish. We were also 8,000 feet above sea level. So the air is much thinner. It's like, that's like 1.5 miles above sea level. So we were like full stunts in Spanish, green makeup, the whole 9 yards. And I ended up making my Gamora debut. And it was, I remember thinking to myself, wow, Madison 3 months ago never would have believed that this was all something that could be tackled. It felt very inspiring to me that I had still like so many big challenges ahead. I think that's so cool that sometimes I remember when I was 18, it was hard for me to like see all the possibilities. I kind of thought like, okay, I've peaked. Like I'm 18, I'm dancing 30 hours a week. Like that must be it. And it was really inspiring to me almost 10 years later to have had such a large challenge served to me and to be like, oh, nope. You don't even know. Like it's never going to stop. You're such a curious learner. Like the challenges are not going anywhere.
That's awesome. That I can't even imagine. We're going to wrap up here in just a moment, but if anybody has any questions, please be sure to ask them. And one question that I know that I wanted to ask was what message you would want to share with teenage Madison?
Oh my gosh. Choosing to be kind to people was 150% the absolute best choice I ever could have made. I don't know what the little voice was that always said to me, like, it might not be the popular thing, but like, do it. You know, like it might not be the cool thing to do, but do it. The cool girl might make fun of you for doing this, but go do the right thing. And I truly can't think of a time where choosing to do the kind thing didn't serve me. And I'm just so grateful because so many of my friendships through dance that I made when I was 13 years old are friends that I still work with and teach with and judge with and perform with. And I'm just so thankful that I'm proud of the 13-year-old that met them and have been able then to develop even further relationships with them. And there's always going to be time to become a better dancer and a better singer and a better actor and performer and public speaker. But like right from the get-go, you can always be the person that's kind to people. And I want to go high five younger Madison for choosing that.
That's lovely. Is there any lasting advice or suggestions you might want to give to teens who are wanting to pursue a professional career beyond all of the wisdom you've already shared?
Oh, thank you. You can never learn too much. Like the second you think you're doing, like you're the best, go find a new classroom to learn in. Go find a harder skill, go find a challenge, go find a mentor that can push you, go find a class of people that have been doing that thing for 20 more years than you and go learn with them. Because I so promise you that there's always something more to learn in your skill set. Life experience will also be your best friend. The more life experience you gain, the more you're going to be able to bring to your performing art. And it's hard for us sometimes to understand that when we're 15, it's the only thing that we're lacking at that point is time. And you will get that, God willing, like you will be given that time. So just use this moment when you're so able-bodied and able to do all the movement and practicing and you have all this free time now. Always hone your skill and always hone your craft and make genuine connections with people. It's going to be very tempting to make relationships strictly that serve you. And, you hear all the time, like it's all about who you know. And I really think what that means is it's who you have genuine connections with and who you have genuine relationships with, because then all of a sudden it does turn into a working relationship and they might be able to open doors for you and create opportunities. But I would never go into starting a relationship with the expectation that someone's just going to open a door for you. That's something that needs to be earned through you showing up and showing them that you're worthy of being trusted. And then all of a sudden it's going to feel like it was really natural, but it actually was just you had been planting those seeds for a really long time.
All right, Madison, thank you so much. You are a wonderful person that I am grateful to know, and I am grateful to have been able to launch these TAPtalks with you here. You have so much that you were able to share. I really appreciate all the wisdom you've been able to share with our teen audience. We will be posting this on YouTube as long as I figure out how to do that correctly.
Awesome.
So everybody, please make sure that you are following Teen Arts Pass. Again, this was our initial Tap Talk, a chance for creative professionals to have a dialogue answering some questions directly from teens about their creative careers. So, and it's a part of Teen Arts Pass. The Chicago program is a part of Urban Gateways, just making sure I get all my things, and our really corny hashtag Quarantine Arts Pass.
So good.
But I just can't resist a bad pun. But thank you all, everybody who was able to join us today and everybody who's viewing later on YouTube, and the most gratitude and everything for Madison, and can't wait until you can get back on the road again.
Can't either. I'm so excited.
Happy to see you, and we'll keep in touch and make sure that the TAP teens have another chance to connect with you sometime in the future.
Thank you, Tara.
Thank you, Madison. Bye, everybody.